The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said to his disciples, "Be watchful, be alert. You do not know when the time will come. It is like a man traveling abroad. He leaves home and places his servants in charge, each with his own work, and orders the gatekeeper to be on the watch. Watch, therefore. You do not know when the Lord of the house is coming, whether in the evening or at midnight or at cockcrow or in the morning. May he not come suddenly and find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to all, watch." The Gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. The season is here, the season of waiting, Advent, the season of coming, looking forward to what has already in history happened, the birth of Christ and his return in glory at the end of time. For thousands of years, we've had the information, haven't quite mastered it yet. People of Babylon had held the people of Israel captive. Cyrus comes along, frees them, they go home. And on their way home, we hear this from the prophet Isaiah, they're upset. After all this time in captivity, now they got to build their temple and build their homes and reconstruct what they had. The joy of freedom has given way to the disappointment that God didn't build the temple for them, or redo their homes, or pave their roads. So they realize that they have a conflictual relationship with God in this section of Isaiah, because they're screaming out to God, "Oh, if you would only open up the heavens, rend the heavens, and come down with the mountains quaking before you." Like, come on, God, you can do all these things. Build the temple, build the homes, build the palaces, come on. And then they catch themselves, in the words of Isaiah, "Behold, you are angry and we're sinful. We're like a bunch of dirty old rags, withered leaves. And there's none who calls upon your name." And yet they realize, oops, what am I doing? I'm blaming God for my sinfulness, our sinfulness as a nation. I'm holding God captive because we were captive, and even though we've been given freedom, we're still blaming God because he didn't do enough for us. And yet, to God, you are our Father. Oops, we're the clay, and you're the potter. We're the work of your hands. Oops, that conflictual relationship we have as society with God continues years, centuries before Christ in this reading from Isaiah, and even goes on through the time of Christ. Conflictual relationship. You mean everything isn't perfect once you believe? Well, if you put the Bible down here and you open up the daily newspapers here, I think we're going to see nice relationships going on today. Just yesterday, Morning News, an author was being interviewed about the rich and famous of Hollywood. And everybody, you could name 5 of them. Don't, right now. You could name at least 5. And the book that is on the marketplace right now is The Rich and Famous of Hollywood Who Have Failed. And the premise the author put forward was, society, we like to have these heroes and heroines. We like to know the intricacies of their lives and how they accomplish and how they get to the top. But we love to watch them fall. You name them. The guy who drove up and down the highway, remember that years ago? You name them. The ones who commit suicide, they find them in the New York. You name them. We have that kind of prurient attitude toward our superheroes. The same kind of attitude we often have toward God. God, you're the creator, you did everything. How come you didn't do this for me? How come you allowed my son, daughter, child to be sick? Hey, God. See how we're rooted in a conflictual relationship with God as people of society? And there's one thing we forget. We'll get to it. It's going to be a clear reminder, but we'll get to it. So what does Jesus tell us to do? Oh, now we're going to start Advent. So we know what we're going to do. Be watchful, be alert. And be up at midnight on Thursday after you swallow your turkey to get first in line. So it says, be watchful, be alert. Oh, no. If you go to my store, we open at 4 a.m. If you go to my store, we won't even close on Thanksgiving. You can start your Good Friday, your Bad Friday, your Black Friday shopping on Thursday. Forget the turkey. Come on, that's what you say. Be alert, be watchful. You don't know when he's going to come. Oh, and if he comes, read the headlines. It's in the papers. It's nothing. I'm not revealing any great revelation. Be alert when he comes. Just go online with your pepper spray, and if anybody pushes you around, spray them. This is happening. This happened this weekend. Do what you're doing to prepare, because you don't know when the master of the house is coming. Who's the master? Jesus. But we don't know what we're doing sometimes as we prepare. The grandfather who gets arrested for shoplifting a child gift gets arrested. He has big blue brouhaha with people. Oh, you can't arrest him. He's an old man. He's shoplifting. You can't arrest him because he's stealing a gift for his son or daughter or grandchild. What kind of preparation? Be aware. I say to all, watch, be alert. You don't know when the Lord is coming. And if the Lord comes and we line up and we start beating the hell out of each other because we want to get that sale before he arrives, how are we the people who he leaves home and places in charge, each with our own work? If what we're getting ready for is December 25th, December 25th now has a new highlight in our society, in our calendar. The NBA starts again. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is our preparation for the coming of Christ in glory so insipid, so useless, that we beat the hell out of each other to get a gift, to celebrate his birthday? And he doesn't get a gift. It's his birthday. He doesn't get the gift. We use weapons, pepper spray, and bats to achieve joy on the morning of December 25th. Here, take the kids so I can go watch the game. Whose birthday? For whom are we watching? He comes back. He finds us like this. He ain't going to be in a good mood. You can take all the joy and rejoicing and alleluias that you have and you can shove it someplace, because he's not going to want us in his watch. He's not going to want us, if this is the way we prepare for his return in glory, he doesn't want us around. And God forbid he arrives tonight. Or God forbid, it's saved, he showed up in that department store where people are pepper spraying each other so they can get ahead. Oh, maybe society needs a Christmas. Okay, you know what? Get rid of December 25th this Christmas. It's an arbitrary day in the Roman calendar. Anyway, give it over to the world. Give it over to the secular society. Let's celebrate the birth of Jesus in the middle of July. And from there on in, live as people who are preparing for his way, his return. And what is that? Doing the things he wants us to do. Being watchful. Being in charge of society. Or be asleep Be asleep and be so concerned with the secularism of the holiday of Christmas that we don't care. Jesus comes, goes, was here, is here. Doesn't matter. Because I got this game, or I got this toy, or I got this electronic thing at a good price to celebrate the return of Jesus in glory. Have you ever heard anybody interview? You know when the reporters go right up to the face, and what do you think about this sale? What do you think about this? Have you ever heard anybody say, I am so happy I got my brand new jig to celebrate the birth of Jesus? I never heard that. What they sell, what they buy, what they celebrate, and I say they. I hope I'm not talking to us, but I think I am. I think I am. Jesus is our gift. And we need to give thanks to God the Father for that gift and to one another. In the words of the Corinthians, Paul's letter, I give thanks to my God always on your account for the grace of God bestowed on us in Christ Jesus. So if we want to choose December 25th with the church and celebrate the incarnation, the coming of God in the flesh of Jesus, then we have to be aware of how we celebrate it. From the words of Isaiah, when they finally realized that they were screwing up, that they were God's people, but they weren't really acting like God's people, that God saved them, liberated them, but they weren't really showing their appreciation. He ends up that excerpt that we heard today, but Father, you are the potter. Years ago, this is my first attempt at pottery. Years ago I did this. It's white clay, and I wanted a red glaze. And the professor said, don't use red, it's very difficult. I didn't care. So I used red. So I saved it because it's terrible. It's not really trimmed well, but it's red. I wanted a red pot. It's not straight, pretty crooked. You know how you throw a pot? Get a clump of clay. You knead it. You knead it so you fight it. And it looks like you're fighting it sometimes. You have to get any bubbles out of it. There can't be no bubbles in the clay. Because if there's bubbles in the clay, when it goes into the kiln, it explodes. That bubble will explode. There can't be pieces of sand or grout in it. This clay is made from sand and a whole bunch of other elements. Because any piece there would throw it off when it's on the wheel throwing. So my first attempt, I threw it. Of course, this is my second attempt. My first attempt is in the window. Because you throw it down. If you don't throw it hard enough and this wheel is spinning, it goes flying off. And that's what it did. And the professor said, I told you so. You know. He knows. I didn't know as well. So my second attempt was this. And it has a little bit of lump here. It's not trimmed well. But I was happy with it. I took it home, showed my mother, looked at me. It doesn't even hold water because it's not glazed properly. He's the potter. We're the clay in his hands. We're in charge of being his people. He's made us with bubbles, with grout, off-centered sometimes. He made us. But now it's us. We're in charge. He's the potter, and that potter is different from this piece of pottery, because that potter gives his creation life, gives his creation willpower, gives his creation love, and wants it back. This piece of pottery can't do that. It can only just sit. What are we making of ourselves as we prepare for the incarnation, for the birth of Jesus Christ in the flesh? It's in your hands.